All right, Shalom. This is Parathon back with another lesson through the Spirit. And in this lesson, I want to get into the seed of Abraham. So before I begin, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shah by Hashem Ruach. That's the Heavenly Father's name through the name of His Son, who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ, and through the Spirit in the Hebrew. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well and who continue to teach us this gospel through the Spirit. Shalom to the Akim around the four corners of the earth that continue to preach this gospel in truth, faith, and in sincerity in the hopes of being saved, all right, and being part of the elect. So in this lesson, I want to get into the faith of Abraham. I want to start off in Romans, the 4th chapter, in verse 12. What I did was I just typed in faith of Abram, and it pulled up a couple scriptures, and I want to get into this topic because of the so-called Christians spread a lot of confusion about the Bible and how the Bible is talking to every nation under the sun and how salvation is for every one of those nations. All right, and that's not facts according to the Bible. That's not the Most High's will. That's not His determination. Okay, and that's not at all what the men of the Lord, the apostles, the prophets of old was preaching. Okay, salvation is for the nation of Israel. Okay, and the nation of Israel consists of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans predominantly, all right, in the days that we living in today. Okay, so this is Romans chapter 4 and verse 12. It says, the father of circumcision to them who are not of the circumcision only, but who also walk in the steps of that faith of our father Abraham, which he had being yet uncircumcised. Okay, so Yahweh is the father of the circumcision, and not only just of the circumcision, but of the uncircumcision as well. Now, what is the difference between the circumcision and the uncircumcision? Okay, let's get a quick precept. This is, I believe, is 1 Corinthians, the 7th chapter, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, and let's see. Do I have it? Let's see. Sure. Let me make sure I spell this right. Law. All right. Not spelling that right. Salakia. Bear with me. So this is very powerful. Yeah, this is Romans chapter 2 and verse 25. It says, circumcision verily profited if thou keep the law. But if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision. Therefore, if the uncircumcision keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision? All right, so the difference between circumcision and uncircumcision is the keeping of the law. Okay, so it says, and the father of the circumcision to them who are not of the circumcision only, but who also walk in the steps of that faith of our father Abraham, which he had being yet uncircumcised. So if the uncircumcision and circumcision is based off the keeping of the law, we have to ask ourselves, who was the law given to? The law was given to the Israelites. Okay, so the Most High is not the father of just the circumcision, because you also have to understand what was going on in the times of the apostles, which the apostle Paul wrote the book of the Romans, which he was writing. Paul was an apostle to the Gentiles. Those Gentiles was Israelites, who was called uncircumcision by the circumcision. Okay, the circumcision was Israelites that was keeping the law. Okay, Romans 4:13, it says, "For the promise that he should be the heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through the righteousness of faith." Now, who was the seed of Abraham? Okay, who was the seed of Abraham? Abraham went from Abraham, Isaac, unto Jacob. All right, and Lord willing, we get more proof on that. This is Romans 4:16. It says, "Therefore it is of faith that it might be by grace, to the end the promise might be sure to all the seed." Now, who is the promises made to? The promises are given to the Israelites. Okay, and I want to get this one real quick. In the book of Sirach, verse, let's see, 40. No thought. Let's see. It may be 44. Okay, this is Sirach 44, or Ecclesiasticus 44 and 18. It says, "An everlasting covenant was made with him, that all flesh should perish no more by flood. Abraham was a great father of many people, in glory was there none like unto him, who kept the law of the Most High, and was in covenant with him. He established the covenant in his flesh. When he was proved, he was found faithful. Therefore he assured him by an oath that he will bless the nations in his seed, and that he will multiply him as the dust of the earth, and exalt his seed as the stars, and cause them to inherit from sea to sea, from the river unto the utmost part of the land." All right, so that's the Red Sea unto the Euphrates. Okay, verse 22, it says, "With Isaac did he establish likewise for Abraham his father's sake the blessing of all men in the covenant, and made it rest upon the head of Jacob. He acknowledged him in his blessing, and gave him an inheritance, and divided his portions among the 12 tribes did he part them." Okay, so there you see that the oath and the promises was to Abraham and his seed, which his seed was Isaac and Jacob, down to the 12 tribes. This is Romans chapter 9 and verse 3. It says, "For I wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh." So Paul loved his brethren so much, he said he wished he would take the place of Yahushua. Okay. Verse 4, who are Israelites. So Paul, kinsmen, his brethren are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, to whom belongeth the adoption, the glory, the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the services of God, and the promises. All right. Romans 4:16. "Therefore it is of faith that it might be by grace, to the end the promise might be sure to all the seed." Okay, so it's by faith, the belief in the word of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, that it may be by grace, because we're saved through the blood of Yahushua and his sacrifice that he made for the Israelites, and the forgiveness of their sins. So it's no more, you can no more say that we could receive the promises by doing the works of the law, but it's all through faith. Okay, the belief in Yahushua. Okay, to the end the promise might be sure to all the seed, because if it was just based off of the law alone, salvation was based off of keeping the law alone, then no Israelite would be saved, and definitely not the uncircumcision or the Gentile, okay, or the Israelite Gentiles. Okay, it says, "Not to that only which is of the law, the circumcision, the Jews, if you will, the southern kingdom, that most of them Well, you had remnants of them that remembered that there was Israelites and grew up in the law, statutes, and commandments, man. All right. It says, but to them that also which is of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all. Okay. Now, is Abraham the father of every nation under the sun? No. So who is this talking to? The Israelites. This Galatians 3:17, it says, know ye therefore that they which are of faith, the same are the children of Abraham. Now, a Christian go to Galatians 3:17, you can just get a precept in Romans 4:12 down to verse 16. All right, to prove that the faith of Abraham is only for the Israelites. It says the same, or it says Galatians 3:7. Know ye therefore that they which are of faith, the same are the children of Abraham. So then they which be of faith, verse 9, are blessed with faithful Abraham. Galatians 3:14, it says that the blessing of Abraham might come on the Gentiles through Yahushua HaMashiach. Now, when you're dealing with Gentiles, you have to understand that there are two different sets of Gentiles in the scriptures. You have the natural Gentiles and the unnatural Gentiles. The natural Gentiles are the other nations, okay? The heathen nations, the scattered, not the scattered, but the heathen nations. The unnatural Gentiles are the Israelites that follow the other nations' ways, okay? And especially during the Greek Empire, our people was Hellenized, okay? It says that we might receive the promise of the Spirit through faith. All right, so that's all I want to get on that. Let me read Galatians 3:14 again. It says that the blessing of Abraham might come on the Gentiles. These Gentiles are talking about the Israelites that was in a Gentile state of mind, because you had our people go through various captivities, and amongst these nations, they learnt the other nations' ways, therefore making them Gentiles. Now, when you go into this word Gentile in Greek, you some of the time it goes back to the word Helen. Okay, it goes back to the word Helen or Hellenistas, showing you that during the Greek Empire, our people was Hellenized, meaning they was made or volunteered to keep the customs of the Greeks, which the Greeks at that time were the Edomites, okay, the so-called white people of today. So let me go to the seed. Let me type in seed of Abraham. Seed Abraham. This is Genesis 12:7. It says, and Yahweh appeared unto Abram and said, unto thy seed will I give this land, and there builded he an altar unto Yahweh who appeared unto him. So who is the seed that the Most High? Who is the seed that the Most High gave the land to? All right, the land that the Most High promised Abraham. What seed of Abraham was that given unto? Because little do the people know. All right, especially these Christians. All right, especially the Christians of the so-called Christians of our people, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. They don't know that Abraham had 8 sons. Okay, so what seed did the Most High give the land to? This Genesis 5 and this Salaki, I'm not going to get that one. This is Genesis 15:8. It says, in the same day Yahweh made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. So when we read in, what was that, Sirach chapter 44, from sea, the river to river, that those are the rivers that it was mentioning. Now, the scriptures say that the world was made for our sakes, the Israelites' sake. So this is just the main hub or the capital, okay, for the Israelites, if you will. It says, or the mainland. It's the mainland. This Genesis 7 and 9. It says, and God said unto Abram, thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore, thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. Genesis 12 and 21. It says, God said unto Abram, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad. Now that lad was talking about Ishmael, and because of thy bondwoman, Hagar, in all that Sarah had said unto thee, hearken unto her voice. For Isaac shall thy seed be called. So the seed of Abraham went from, which we got in Sirach, but further proof, the seed of Abraham is not all nations, okay? It went from Abraham unto Isaac. It didn't go to Ishmael, okay? That scripture, Genesis 12 and 21, proves that. You know, just Genesis 26 and 3, it says, sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and I will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed will I give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father. Now, on your own leisure time, go read these chapters and these verses to get the context. Now, this is talking to Isaac, okay? Now, this is talking to Isaac. It says, unto thy seed will I give this land, all right, to perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham. So the land, all right, went from Abraham unto Isaac, okay? It says, Genesis 26:24, and Yahweh appeared unto him the same night and said, I am the God of Abram, thy father, fear not, for I am with thee, and I will bless thee and multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake. Still talking to Isaac. Genesis 28 and 4. It says, and give thee the blessing of Abram to thee and to thy seed with thee, that thou mayest inherit the land wherein thou art a stranger, which God gave unto Abram. All right. Let's see who is this talking to. Multiply thee. And Isaac sent away Jacob and went to Padanaram. Right, so this is Isaac blessing Jacob, all right? Which Isaac had two sons, Jacob and Esau. Now the oath that was promised to Abraham and Isaac didn't go to Esau, all right? So Esau is not the promised seed. Jacob is. Let's continue to read these precepts. This Genesis 35 and 12, it says, and the land which I gave Abram and Isaac, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. So the land went from Abraham, Isaac, unto Jacob, down to the 12 tribes of Israel, man. All right, so there shouldn't be no confusion of who the promised seed is, man. Who the land is for. It's for the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Salvation, okay, the kingdom of heaven is for the Israelites. Let's see. I believe this good precept. It says, this is Exodus 32 and 13. It says, remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. All right, because Jacob's name was changed to Israel. Thou servants to whom thou swearest by thine own self, and saidest unto them, I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and all this land that I have spoken of will I give unto your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. All right, this Exodus 33 and verse 1. It says, and Yahweh said unto Moses, depart and go up hence, thou and the people which thou hast brought up out of the land of Egypt, unto the land which I swore unto Abraham, Isaac, and unto Jacob, saying, unto thy seed will I give it. Now, who did the Most High deliver out of the Egyptians' hands? The Israelites, man. All right? The 12 tribes of Israel. So the land and the promises are to the Israelites, man. All right? So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying unto the elect. With that, I want to say, Kahala Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Ruach HaKodesh. All right, Shalom.